We thought you wanted to divorce?
You call that love? Tarila's voice thundered through the glass walls of the penthouse, echoing across the marble floor like a whip. Her words sliced through the heavy morning air, bouncing off the white grand piano that had once been a gift of love, now just a silent witness to war. Ademola slammed his coffee cup on the counter, spilling brown liquid over the sleek quartz top. Love? Don't insult me, Tarila. You don't know what love is. You know control, manipulation, and drama. That's what you know. The city below them hummed, car horns, soft jazz from passing cafes, and the gentle waves of the Lagos lagoon brushing against the shore. But inside the Platinum Tower's penthouse 9A, chaos reigned. Their argument had started over something small, a broken wine glass, but it had spiraled into an emotional explosion that revealed years of resentment. You think your money buys respect? She shouted, her eyes glistening with tears that refused to fall. You think flying me to Santorini every summer makes up for the way you speak to me? Ademola's jaw tightened. His black silk shirt clung to his chest as he moved closer. You live like a queen in this house, Tarila. I gave you everything, everything. What more do you want from me? She laughed bitterly. Everything, yes, except peace. The silence that followed was sharp. He turned away, his reflection flashing on the glass wall, tall, proud, and furious. Tarila stood still, her white robe flowing like smoke around her body. Every argument between them felt like fire and gasoline. But this one was different. This one felt final. The clock struck 9 a.m. The aroma of freshly baked croissants drifted from the kitchen, but neither of them had an appetite. Their chef, a quiet man named Claude, peeked from the pantry and quickly disappeared again. He had learned to read the weather in that house, and today's forecast was thunderstorm. I can't live like this anymore, Tarila said quietly. This marriage feels like a performance. We smile for cameras, we pose at charity events, but the moment we get home, we become strangers. Ademola's reply was soft but cruel. Then maybe it's time we stop pretending. Her heart sank, but she forced herself to stay composed. Are you saying you want a divorce? I'm saying I'm tired. Those words landed like a slap. Tarila froze, her lips parting but no words coming out. She had threatened divorce many times before, always expecting him to beg her to stay. But this time it was him. The shock burned deeper than anger. He picked up his car keys, straightened his wristwatch, and said without looking back, I'll have my lawyer call you. You can tell yours to meet mine. She stood still until she heard the penthouse door click shut. Then, and only then, did she sit down on the cold marble floor and let her tears fall. Outside, Ademola stepped into his Rolls-Royce Cullinan, the driver waiting silently. His reflection in the tinted window showed not a winner, but a man who had lost something precious without understanding why. Back upstairs, Tarila walked to the mirror and stared at herself. Her mascara had smeared, her robe half open, her chest rising and falling with emotion. She whispered to her reflection, Fine. If it's war you want, I'll give you one. She reached for her phone and dialed a number she had saved for emergencies, her friend's lawyer, Barrister Mabel Adigwe. Yes, it's me, she said, her voice trembling with fury. I want to file for divorce. As the city lights flickered to life far below her balcony, the luxurious skyline of Lagos glowed, calm and beautiful, unaware that a marriage built on perfection was crumbling inside the glass palace above. And yet, deep down, neither Ademola nor Tarila knew that the same fire that was tearing them apart would one day lead them into the courtroom, wearing matching outfits that would make the whole city wonder what really happened between them. From the street below, the Platinum Towers shimmered in the morning light like a monument of wealth and pride, a home to Lagos' richest and most dramatic souls. But among them all, no one created more spectacle than Mr. and Mrs. Ademola Cole. By mid-morning, everyone in the estate already knew what had happened in Penthouse 9A. The argument that started before sunrise had become a neighborhood legend before noon. In apartment 8B, Madame Doris, a retired banker and self-proclaimed estate historian, was already giving her daily gossip briefing. She sat by her wide balcony with her morning tea, binoculars in hand. He stormed out in a black Rolls-Royce, she said dramatically to her friend on the phone. Yes, the wife was still in her robe, crying. I saw it myself. This one is final. Downstairs in the lobby, the security guards exchanged glances. Do you think Madame will move out? One asked. The other shook his head, smiling. Move out. Madame loves drama too much. Even the chef, Claude, couldn't resist whispering to the housekeeper, Joy, as he cleaned the kitchen. They fight like thunder, but tomorrow you'll see them holding hands again. Just wait. Joy rolled her eyes. This time I think it's real. Madam said she's calling a lawyer. By noon, a rumor had already spread that Barrister Mabel Adigwe, Lagos' most sought-after divorce attorney, had been contacted. In elite circles, Mabel's name carried weight. When she appeared, it meant the end was near. Madame Doris nearly spilled her tea when she saw Mabel's black Mercedes pull up at the gates around 2 p.m. "Ah, I said it," she shouted to no one in particular. It has entered court matter now. Inside the penthouse, the tension was thick but silent. Tarila had changed into a cream-colored jumpsuit, her hair tied neatly, her eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses even though she was indoors. When the doorbell rang, she opened it calmly, as if expecting an old friend rather than the woman who would begin to unmake her marriage. "Mrs. Cole," Mabel said, stepping in gracefully. "I got your call. You sounded urgent." Tarila nodded, her lips trembling slightly. "Please sit. Would you like some tea?" Mabel smiled faintly. Divorcing women always offer tea. "I'll take water." They sat in silence for a moment before Tarila spoke. "It's over, Barrister. I want it done quietly but cleanly. No drama." Mabel raised an eyebrow. "No drama? You live in the most talked-about building in Lagos. The day you file for divorce, your face will be on 6 blogs before sunset." Tarila sighed. "Then make it quick." As Mabel opened her case file, her eyes roamed the apartment. Luxury everywhere. Golden lamps, Italian art, crystal vases. Everything screamed success, except the owner's eyes. "You know," Mabel said softly, "most of my clients who live like this end up missing the only thing that mattered, peace." Tarila said nothing. She just looked out at the city skyline and whispered, "Peace left this house a long time ago." That evening, when Mabel left the apartment, she ran into Ademola at the elevator, returning home unexpectedly. Their eyes met briefly. He recognized her instantly. "My wife called you," he said, his voice low. Mabel adjusted her glasses. "She did. You'll hear from me soon, Mr. Cole." As the elevator doors closed between them, Madame Doris gasped from behind her curtain upstairs. She clutched her phone and typed furiously on WhatsApp to the neighborhood group. "Breaking news. Barrister Mabel just left 9A. Mr. Cole met her at the elevator. It's officially over." The group exploded with messages. Some expressed pity. Others said they looked too perfect anyway. But what none of them knew, not even Madame Doris, was that beneath the anger and humiliation, something unspoken was still alive between the couple. Something stubborn. Something neither pride nor gossip could kill. That night, as the lights of Lagos glittered over the lagoon, Tarila stood on the balcony in silence, watching the city glow beneath her. She didn't know it yet, but the whole of the Platinum Towers was watching her too, waiting to see how a queen falls. And somewhere, far below, Ademola sat alone in his car, staring at his wedding ring under the dashboard light, whispering to himself, "If this is the end, why does it hurt like the beginning?" The penthouse was quiet that night. Too quiet for a house that had heard more shouting than laughter in recent months. The city outside glittered with the rhythm of Lagos nightlife. The faint sound of traffic from the Lekki Bridge, music floating up from a rooftop bar, the occasional laughter from passers-by. Yet, inside penthouse 9A, 2 people sat on opposite sides of the same silence. Tarila was curled on the beige velvet sofa in the living room, hugging a pillow to her chest. The television was on but muted, a silent film playing for no one in particular. Across the hallway, Ademola sat in his office, scrolling through emails he wasn't reading. Every few minutes, he would glance at the door, half expecting her to walk in and say something. But she didn't. For the first time in years, the house felt like a museum, full of beauty, but lifeless. At 10:45 p.m., the smart home system dimmed the lights automatically. That was her rule. She loved soft lighting before bed. The glow spilled gently from the chandelier, painting golden shadows on the marble floor. Ademola turned off his laptop, removed his glasses, and sighed. He could hear faint movement from the bedroom, the clink of jewelry boxes, the soft hum of Tarila's favorite French perfume dispenser. They were both in the same home, but living like ghosts. He stood at the doorway, watching her through the reflection on the mirror. She was brushing her hair, slow and deliberate, pretending not to notice him. "I met your lawyer today," he said quietly. Her hand froze mid-stroke. "Good. Then you know I'm serious." He walked in slowly, his footsteps echoing across the marble floor. Serious about what? Destroying what we built because of ego. She turned to face him, her eyes cold. What we built? Or what you controlled? Don't make this sound poetic, Ademola. You stopped fighting for me a long time ago. Now I'm just fighting you. He clenched his jaw and looked away. You talk like I'm the only one who failed. Maybe we both did, she whispered. For a moment, neither spoke. The air between them was thick with memories, laughter from vacations, whispers on late nights, the sound of shared dreams that once felt unbreakable. But all that was gone now. Tarila climbed into bed, pulling the duvet over her legs. You can sleep wherever you want, she said, her voice softer now. I don't care anymore. Ademola hesitated, then moved to his side of the bed. He lay down fully dressed, staring at the ceiling. Between them, the empty space felt like 1,000 miles. Minutes turned into hours. Tarila's breathing slowed, though she wasn't asleep. Her mind replayed their first date. The laughter at the art gallery, the way he couldn't stop staring at her that night, the silly jokes that turned into a proposal a year later. Ademola, eyes open in the dark, thought about the same thing. That smile she gave him the first time she wore white, the same color she would one day wear again, unknowingly changing everything. But pride is a stubborn companion. Neither of them reached out. Neither spoke. At midnight, rain began to fall, soft at first, then heavy, tapping against the glass walls like quiet applause. Tarila turned slightly, her back now facing him. Her tears blended with the faint glow of lightning that flashed across the room. Ademola finally whispered into the darkness, barely audible. I still love you, Tarila. But she was half asleep, or maybe pretending to be. The rain drowned his confession before it could reach her. Outside, the lights of Lagos flickered through the downpour. Inside, two hearts beat inches apart but worlds away. Still wearing their wedding rings, still sharing the same bed, but no longer sharing peace. Neither of them knew that the silence between them that night would become the very thing that tied their fate together in the strangest way. A silence that would follow them all the way to the courtroom, where they would one day arrive dressed like lovers, not enemies. It was a Monday morning heavy with clouds and tension. The sound of distant thunder rolled lazily across the city as Barrister Mabel Adigwe's black Lexus pulled into the gated driveway of Penthouse 9A, Okira Estates. She stepped out, heels clicking sharply against the tiles, her leather folder tucked beneath her arm. Mabel was known for one thing in Lagos. She didn't handle messy emotions, only results. She was the kind of lawyer who made men sweat in meetings and women sign away their patience. Today, however, she wasn't walking into just any client's home. She was walking into a war zone, a home where love had turned into a business negotiation. The housekeeper, Chioma, opened the door, bowing slightly. Good morning, Barrister. Madam is in the lounge. Oga, he's in the study. Mabel gave a curt nod. Perfect. 2 rooms, 2 sides. Let's see how long that lasts. She stepped inside. The air smelled of vanilla candles and expensive silence. Tarila sat on the couch in a white silk robe, legs crossed, her hair perfectly brushed but her eyes tired. A cup of untouched cappuccino sat beside her. Mabel, she greeted softly, forcing a smile. Thanks for coming. You know me, the lawyer replied, sitting gracefully. When you call, I move. She pulled out a file. So, I've gone through your statements, property lists, and the proposed separation plan. Before Tarila could respond, footsteps echoed from the hallway. Ademola emerged, tall and controlled in a gray shirt and dark trousers. He didn't look angry. He looked like a man ready to negotiate his pain. I didn't realize we were starting without me, he said, his tone calm but sharp. Mabel smiled politely. Good morning, Mr. Adigwe. I was about to request your presence. He sat across from Tarila, not looking at her, his fingers steepled beneath his chin. The lawyer began. Mrs. Adigwe has decided to proceed with the dissolution of the marriage. However, she requests an amicable settlement. No public drama, no press. Ademola chuckled dryly. Public drama? We're Lagos elites, Mabel. The drama starts the moment someone whispers. You think the press needs permission? Tarila's eyes flared. You're the one who loves appearances, Ademola. You've lived your whole life pretending everything is perfect. I'm tired of being part of your performance. He turned to her. Performance? You think the house, the vacations, the cars were performances? You wanted luxury, Tarila. I gave it to you. She stood suddenly, tears threatening. You gave me control, not love. Every decision was yours, where we lived, who I could see, how I should talk. Even my smiles had to fit your schedule. The room fell silent. Mabel, unfazed, scribbled something in her file and said quietly, "This level of passion. I've seen it before. It usually means there's still love hiding somewhere." Both turned to her, startled. "I'm a lawyer," Mabel continued, "not a counselor. But take it from someone who's handled 20 high-profile divorces this year. People who truly stop caring don't argue this hard. They just sign." Ademola's expression softened, just slightly. Tarila looked away, brushing a tear from her cheek. "Barrister," Ademola said at last, voice low, "prepare the papers. If she wants freedom, I'll give it to her." Mabel nodded, closing her folder. "Very well, but I'll give both of you a few days to think. Sometimes walking away isn't the same as being free." She rose, adjusting her blazer, and added quietly as she left, "I'll return on Friday." As her car pulled away, thunder cracked across the skyline. Inside the penthouse, Tarila sank back into the couch, her heart pounding. Ademola remained standing, looking out through the glass balcony at the storm. Neither spoke, but both were thinking the same thing. How had love, once soft as rain, turned into something so violent? That night, Tarila wrote a message she would never send.